Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our podcast, Your Gardening Questions from Plant Talk Radio. If you have a gardening question you'd like our host Fred Howard to answer, send him an email. The email address is fred@planttalkradio.com. Now for today's question. Jan sent us in a question this week about daylilies, and she says hers only seem to bloom once a year. They're yellow. She's tried cutting off the spent blooms. She's tried leaving them on. They're a mix of sun and shade, and they get plenty of water, so she's wondering what she's doing wrong.
Well, I'm going to spare the short answer until I get done talking. There are 15,000 registered daylilies. Of that 15,000, there are more waiting to be registered, I'm told. And only in the last probably 15 years has there been a revelation in the daylily group. Several of them are shorter plants. I'm not going to get into all the names, but they are plants that bloom spectacularly in the spring, and then they bloom periodically on through the whole summer. But it's only those few, and I don't have a proportion, but of the 15,000 total, I suppose less than 40 of them are what we'll call rebloomers. And even with that statement being made and correctly made, they don't flower as heavily, and they don't flower. Each plant does not flower daily all through the summer. They take a break, they come and go, and they are usually a little shorter than the ones that are, tall and spectacular, but bloom only once. So I think everything is right for Jan, except probably just has a breed, if you will, or a cultivar that isn't going to flower a second time. Now, I would still recommend to her, since she's not a breeder, I assume, there's no reason to let the seed heads develop and drag the plant down. I would continue when time is available. I'd continue to deadhead and so on. But I have a hunch she just has one that isn't going to flower a second time.
Mine must be all the old-fashioned sort of types, because I have orange and I have yellow and I have some cream-colored ones, and but they come up and I've got a lot of green, but they seem to only bloom right in the middle of summer, about right now, and then they're done.
And I have only a very few, but I have only one that is a rebloomer, and I can say that advisedly because it shows about one flower per week, or one stem of flowers per week in the balance of the summer. But it was spectacular early on. And they're a plant that will tolerate some shade and so on. But as far as Jan's concerned, she's got everything going right, except, I think, just simply bought the wrong plant.
So now when you go to the garden center, let's say you go to the garden center, because I don't think anybody ever buys a daylily. They're just handed it from a neighbor or something. But if you do, if you go to the garden center, I suppose you specifically ask for the rebloomers.
Yes, and for the most part anymore, there will be a division on that bench for sun plants and so on. There will probably be some nature of division of those that will rebloom. The tags will say so, and that's one of the things by rules of the road now. Plants have to be tagged individually, so do double check the tags and just see if they're listed as a rebloomer, and that's more the proper term than continuous bloom, because they'll take some breaks. But given a hint of fertilizer, and I wouldn't push them too much, but a hint of fertilizer right about the peak of the first bloom will give them enough nutrition and push that they'll respond all the rest of the summer and be great. Now, as to people not buying daylilies, Mark, I have heard some fantastic prices on new cultivars of daylily, and those that are really into daylilies that need that one new extra plant, they just shove out the shekels, because
there you go.
That's right. It's like new hosta. If you have a new hosta, don't give it away. That is, new in the sense of nature.
Hey, thanks again for listening to our podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our other podcasts as well, the Plant of the Week podcast and the Plant Talk Radio podcast, all on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to sponsor a daily podcast, contact us at fred@planttalkradio.com. To find out more about Fred Hauer and Plant Talk Radio, visit our website, planttalkradio.com.
Circle270media.com